Today's topic is being proactive. I read a book a couple years ago called The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Since I read that book, it really just changed my whole trajectory in life. And being proactive has just added a lot of value in my life on a personal note and from a business perspective. So I just want to encourage people, to be a forward thinker, not be stuck in the past. It's cool to get with your friends and reminisce. But like overall, being stuck in the past is a trick of the enemy, and he wants to keep you bound. And so you can't get to your future blessings if you stuck in the past. These aren't just cliches. This is like real life stuff. It's all about the mindset. So if the enemy has your mind, we're talking about Satan because it's a spiritual warfare. So if the enemy has your mind and he's keep you stuck in the past, it's going to be more harder for you to grow. So again, just sharing my testimonies, being a forward thinking, being proactive has gotten me pretty far, far as just being productive and getting things done. You know, um, I'm intrigued and I love to be proactive. I actually have a notes app that I'm in every day, from Monday to Sunday, and just with my daily tasks and checking off that list every single day helps me stay productive, helps me get things done around the household. I feel better, the household is better, in turn life's better. So I just love to share with my people, when you get give, when you learn, teach. On Respectfully the podcast, just sometimes these are hard conversations because some people may get offended and take things a certain way. But it's all due respect. My whole goal and aim is just to help my people, my culture, especially my Omaha community. And I know there we can be last minute people. It's just a part of where we come from. When I was young, we would go to the clubs, in the club in about 1 or 2 o'clock. We're getting there like 12, 1 o'clock. Like 12 o'clock, 11:30. We spent all day, work running around hustling and getting these outfits, just to get in the clubs for like 30 minutes because we want to make that grand entrance, last minute. I don't know if it still goes on, but anyway, it's just a last minute mindset that kind of is produced through our city, through our culture in Omaha. It's smaller, so a lot of places you can get in about 15, 20 minutes. And I get it. So people, even my own brother, he leaves, if you have to be to work at 1, he's leaving about 12:45, 12:30. And for me, that's like insane. If I have to be to work at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm leaving the house. Atlanta's different. You definitely got to leave about 11, 11:30, depending on your commute and things like that. But either way, I want to arrive to my job at least 30 minutes early, 15, 30 minutes early. Give me time to get there, get my mind together, kind of plan out my day. And just with traffic, you never know what traffic is like. And I know that's going to vary depending on what city you in. But on time is late, and it's really a good look on your management team, on your bosses, when they see you arriving on time, consecutively, continuously, and just shows how well you schedule and plan your life. And again, you get recognition and you'll go far with just these little small attributes if you just keep them up continuously and lay that foundation. So I'm encouraging people, be proactive. Plan out your weeks, plan out your date nights. Women, your girlfriend, your spouse is going to love you more when you have things planned. And showing her not only that you care and you're concerned. You're taking that time to spend with her, and most women love and they desire quality time. So hey, baby, what we doing this weekend? I got us reservations at such and such. Ladies love when you take the time to make those reservations, and it's some males, and I know, from the streets, a lot of guys, whether they do it or not, it may be, sometime as men, we just be caught up into our own thing and we put a lot of that stuff off on the ladies. But fellas, when you take the time to make those reservations, you're going to really, impress your woman. She's going to love that because you took that time out to do that. And it was very thoughtful of you and it was proactive. So, hey, it's going to improve your relationship. And it's all about being consistent in the things we do. Relationships are hard. Marriage is tough. It's a job. It's constant day in and day out work. So the more proactive we can be and try to impress our spouses and one another, the happier, more than likely, and lengthier that relationship will be. So, being a planner has worked for me. Again, you can use, there's apps out there for people who like to, do things digitally. There's apps. Again, I use a note app. There's calendars out there, and a lot of resources to help you plan out things. And if you're just a regular schmegular and you're not with all the fancy apps and digital, write things down. I'm still old school like that and still write a lot of things down on paper, which gets you results also because you can just scratch it off, boom, that's done. And so, even us coming up where I'm from, wasn't a lot of planning for birthday parties and that. I didn't, I grew up in a single parent home, and so we did a lot of sharing things, and my mom did the best she could. You know better, you do better. So now we're older. I like to just encourage my people to take the time to plan those birthday parties for your siblings or for one another if you've never been celebrated like that. And me and my fellows was having a conversation the other day, and this is real trauma that people have dealt with. Even myself, I wasn't used when I first got married. Getting gifts was kind of awkward to me. I've always been a giver, but never received gifts to that capacity. And so a lot of people aren't used to being celebrated. That's where I was going with that. And so, when you learn new things, you try to implement those things within your family, within your community. So let's celebrate one another. Be proactive. If your friend's been on his job 5, 10 years and he's from the streets and he's just worked, and that's a big milestone. Even a year. To say, man, congratulations, man. I'm proud of you. And he don't even know it, but behind the scenes, I'm planning something for us this weekend, being proactive, and I'm gonna take you out, have a good time, take you and your wife out to dinner, etc., and just celebrate you and be proactive about it. So you can make those reservations for 5 or 6 or however many people, and y'all get there on time, and things will flow smoothly, and it will be all good. So again, encouraging my people to be proactive, celebrate one another, and then here's another one. And this even for me, if you're a busy individual and you're juggling a lot, plan your relaxation days, not necessarily vacation, but you may take some time off. Sometimes people take time off and just say they're not gonna, I just want to be off. And that's cool too if that works for you. But I say plan that out. You may go get your feet done, have a little spa day. Um, or if you want to go to the gym, that's not relaxing. But whatever it is, plan that out versus just taking the day off. But that's relaxing to some individuals as well. They may just want to take that day off and just sit around the house and do absolutely nothing. But just make sure you planning it and being proactive, so you can get better results. I believe um, another thing, I talked to my relative one day and it was his birthday and he was going to work. I never forget one of Miss Cynthia, this older lady at my job. She was so sweet and was really business driven, savvy. And she told me one day I was working on my birthday and she said, Isaac, you should never work on your birthday. That's your day. Plan that, take that time off. Even if you work from home, plan that day off. That's your birthday, celebrate you. Again, a spa day, go have a cigar, go eat you a nice meal, or sit around the house and just relax, watch some of your movies, binge or whatever. But plan that, be proactive, and you get better results planning. You're more productive when you plan things, in my opinion. So again, you don't have to take this advice, but God gives me these messages. Things have worked in my life. These are tangible, small little goals and small habits that you can develop. Like I said, the book I read, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you want to be effective and productive, don't sit around and just complain. Do this information can really transform people's lives. So I encourage you guys to be proactive, and also at the job, your future 101k, future 401k. I'm sorry. I was at a job for years and I never didn't invest in it at all. And when I got promoted, I just invested like 2%. And over the years, that money, that was good. And it was a good investment, And so I encourage you guys, when you get to your job, if you can, because I get it, sometimes us men are bombarded. We got child support, you got all these extra bills, you got credit card debt or whatever. So sometimes you can't squeeze that 2, 3, 4, 5% out. But if you can just do that 1%, I encourage you to invest in that 401k plan. You'll appreciate it in about 4 or 5 years when you're with a company that matches that. And so again, I'm sharing my testimony. I worked at a job for I think 5, 6 years before I did it. And when I did finally invest because I got promoted, but I could have been doing it at the other, before I got promoted, at least 1 or 2%, $20, $30 a paycheck. You're not going to miss it. And again, if you're with a company that's going to match that, it's going to really add value and help you out in the long run. You'll have a nice stash for a tough time. So investing in a 401k plan as well. And lastly, I just want to talk about, me coming from a background in corporate and working with a lot of individuals on coaching, um, resume tips, interview tips, things like that. I learned a lot of things that I want to share with you guys as well. So again, back to being proactive. If you have an interview coming up for this new job, you want to really be proactive, take this thing serious, do your research on the position, right? That entails going, reading the job description, reaching out to people that may be in that department, seeing if you can go sit with somebody and nest with them to learn about that department. And and you're also getting you're building relationships. And so as you look into that description and you got that job description, you go back, you create your resume. And that's a whole nother segment we'll get into. But during this process of preparation, you're learning what certain things that entail within that job description. You're looking at your skill sets and saying, okay, my skill set is transferable to that. And then you're taking the time to prep for the interview. That preparation is if you have to meet with your manager or someone to do a mock interview to go over it. A lot of times we get in those rooms and we're nervous. And so here's a big one. Soon as you get in that room and you're nervous, so what really can help you relax is just breaking the ice and asking your interviewer, hey, how was your commute to work? And then you get to talking and having regular conversation. That's taking some of that nervousness off you, and it'll help engage better when you start the interview process. So starting small dialogue when you get into that room before the interview actually starts will help you out. Having a 30, 60, 90-day plan, meaning at the end of your interview, you're going to tell them, hey, in 30 days, I plan on, getting to know all my coworkers personally, getting familiar with my actual day-to-day duties, etc. Right? In 60 days, now I'm doing this, this, this. And then at 90 days, I plan on implementing based on what I've observed over this 90 days. Now I plan on bringing this to the table. That's really going to impress the interviewer as well. So you have your 30, 60, 90, you got your resume, you got your cover letter, and then you have your thank you letter after the resume. You're sending that, hey, thank you for the interview. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to hearing back from you. Some nice, short, and sweet. And you can get all this information on Google and just look up the templates and then just plug and play and put your own words into it. So a lot of this stuff is being proactive, having that witty and that zeal to want to, so you got to have that desire to want to win and to want to get there. But again, I just wanted to share there's a lot of value in being proactive. And there's a bit more to being proactive with interviewing, of course. You're looking up the STAR technique, which a lot of these jobs have these behavioral questions where they're going to ask you name a time when such and such and such. What was your action you took? As a result of your action, what happened. And so I encourage you to look into the STAR technique as well. That's on YouTube, and just be proactive. It's added a lot of value in my life. I love to share with people how being proactive really helps me out on a day-to-day basis. So respectfully, I just wanted to give you guys some things that have worked for me that I encourage you to kind of take on and implement and see if that works for you. And yeah, respectfully the podcast, man. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you on the next one. Remember, be proactive. You're gonna be more productive and you'll get better results.